Praise God, brothers and sisters. Today, I'm going to be saying a testimony instead of preaching. Guillermo called me and he asked me if I could do a testimony. I'm like, yeah, of course. It's a good time. It's a good time to do a testimony. As I don't know if everybody remembers, but a couple months ago, I preached about how, it wasn't really a sermon, but it was more of like a lesson on how to prepare testimony. But this testimony is going to be a little bit different. The way I did the lesson was based on a testimony of how you came to Jesus or how you came to salvation. But today's testimony is more of something that I've experienced as or something I learned in my walk with Christ. And the testimony is about prayer. I want to start by reading out of Acts chapter 12. This is just, I wanted to have my testimony be about something that's biblical. So, last time I preached, a couple weeks ago, I read from this exact chapter. This is Acts chapter 12. This is when Peter was arrested by Herod and put in prison, and then the church was praying for him. And last time I focused more about Peter. This time I want to focus on the church praying. So if you're trying to follow along, it's Acts chapter 12, verse 5. Peter was therefore kept in prison, but constant prayer was offered to God for him by the church. And then so Peter was arrested, he was in fear, and the people that were in the church didn't know what was going to happen. Just before this, I think it was James, he was killed by Herod. And so the church was afraid. They thought they were about to lose one of their apostles. And so they were praying. And then an angel came, freed Peter from prison, and then he came to where they were gathered. And then this is what it tells us in verses 12 through 17. So when he had considered this, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a girl named Rhoda came to answer. When she recognized Peter's voice because of her gladness, she did not open the gate, but ran in and announced that Peter stood before the gate. But they said to her, "You are beside yourself." Yet she kept insisting that it was so. So they said, "It is his angel." Now Peter continued knocking, and when they opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. But motioning to them with his hands to keep silent, he declared to them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he said, "Go tell these things to James and to the brethren." And he departed and went to another place. Sometimes we think, are we doing church the way the apostles were doing church, the way the disciples, the way that they were doing church? Are we copying them, or are we doing something different? Like, if one of the disciples came to our church, would they instantly know this is the same kind of thing that we have going on, or would they say we are doing something different? And here we see that the church, very beginning, this is right after the church was born pretty much, the Christians were having prayers. They were having pretty much a prayer service where the church would gather together in this house and they were praying. And this is something that we do to this day. We have prayer services at church, and we also have prayer services in our homes together with other believers, and also prayer services with just our families. And we see this event where the church came together, they had a need, they were in fear, and they didn't just live in fear and live in their own homes and then wait for something to happen, but they came together and they began to pray. And then Peter was delivered. It's interesting, Pastor came and he talked about the prayer, the all-night prayer that we had, and that's part of my testimony. I've pretty much 2 testimonies, and that is one of them. Whenever I first heard about the all-night prayer, I kind of didn't want to go. It seemed kind of random, and I was just like thinking, I'm not going to go to that. They kept talking about it. They kept trying to invite me. They were inviting others. And I was like, I'm probably not gonna go, I'm gonna skip out this one. But then my brother and other people were asking me, are you going? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should. And so I was at home, the prayer started, and it was an all-night prayer. It wasn't just like a regular prayer service where you come at 7 and you leave at 9. This was an all-night prayer. And so you didn't have to come on time, you could come middle of the night and just start praying. And it was pretty interesting. And so I was at home, other people in my family already went to church, and then a couple hours went by, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to this prayer, I'm gonna see what it's like, pray a little bit, and go home. And I walk into church, and I saw somebody, they were getting some coffee or tea, whatever. They prayed for a little bit, they needed a break, they were getting coffee. I started talking to them, I was like, what's going on, how are you doing? And then my brother comes out, he's talking, and the interesting thing is, everyone at the time was smiling. Like, right now I'm smiling, but it was such a different experience, it was such a different thing that I've never went to an all-night prayer, that it was just like, come to church. There's some people in the church praying, it's pretty quiet, some people are praying pretty loud. We're just getting some coffee or tea, just talking like, yeah, let's go in there. How long are you planning to stay? It's like maybe a couple hours, maybe 12, I'll leave, maybe 11. But then I was like, okay, they were taking a break, but I just got to church, so I was like, I'm gonna have to go inside and start praying a little bit. So I go in and just start praying, and it wasn't like a regular prayer service. Like what we have usually in our prayer services is like, you get on your knees, you pray for like 10 minutes, and then it's over, and then you do something else, listen to a song, and then have another prayer. But it was just a continuous prayer for the first like hour. It was just praying, and then we had a time of singing. We had a team go up and sang some songs, we worshiped a little bit, and it was a really good experience. I'm just gonna say that. The people that didn't go, you guys missed out, like for real, you guys missed out. This is nothing like any random church service or regular church service. This was something completely different. It was like super relaxed. You just came there, you prayed, and we sang some songs, and then we went back into prayer, and it was just a relaxed prayer. You weren't there just to accomplish anything, you were there just to pray, just to talk to God. And then we had somebody, they just read a book in the Bible. They were just like, let's do that. And it was interesting because it seems like, why are we doing it like that? Why are we just praying? The prayer doesn't really, it's just a long, continuous prayer. We don't know why we're doing that. But truly, I think that's exactly what people in the early church did. They would come together at somebody's house. They said, like right here in Acts chapter 12, they were gathered for prayer. How long was that prayer? Did they gather together and then pray for 30 minutes and then end the prayer and then just start talking or doing whatever else? It seems like they were there to pray, and that's what we were doing at the all-night prayer. We came to church, and we were just praying. And you weren't doing it just to, like, you weren't just forced to pray, but like it was just relaxed, just a time to speak to God. Whatever you wanted to pray about, you could just pray about. And there was no interruption, and there wasn't like a push for like excitement or anything. It was just really relaxed. To me, I really enjoyed that prayer, and if we do another one, I hope we do another one. I would encourage everyone to come. You don't have to come in the very beginning and stay through the whole thing. Come just at a random time, just pray. It's something I was really shocked by. I did not think I would enjoy it at to that kind of level, but I thought it was really good. And then I went for the next couple of days, I was talking to my brother, to other people that were there, and I was like, dude, that was something else. That was something super cool. But we were like, yeah, it was super cool, but we have to do it every couple of months. We can't, if we do it every month, it will be too much. No one wants to stay up the whole night. But every couple of months, you can stay up the whole night, and it's pretty fun. And so that was something that I saw, and I thought it was really cool. I think when we do it again, everyone, you should go. It'll be something that you'll remember. The next testimony is a totally different kind of a thing. And a couple of months ago, we went to Mexico as a team from our church. But before that, I think it was tied in with us going to Mexico since I was leading that trip. But there was a couple of nights where I had nightmares, where I would just, while I was just dreaming and something was just going on. And I think that some of it was from the missionary trip. I think the devil did not want us to go. The devil was trying to distract us and send problems. And one of these dreams, I just wanted to describe what it was. So I don't really fully remember the whole dream, but what I do remember was that it was, as a dream, from the point I remember was, I was just doing whatever in my dream, and then a demon would come to me, and I would realize that there was a demon, and then I would wake up. But I wouldn't wake up and fully wake up. Instead, I would just wake up into a new dream. And then I would be just walking around in the new dream. And then again, a demon would come, and then I would wake up, I would get afraid, wake up out of the dream, but then go into a new dream. And I don't remember how many times this happened, but each time it happened, I would be more afraid, and so I would just pretty much just be afraid of what's happening here, but not realizing it, and then just keep, and this happened probably 5 times, and then, but I don't really remember what happened in the beginning, but I do remember pretty much the last part was I woke up, and then there was a car, and those people that were speaking Spanish in the car. And then I started speaking Spanish to them, whatever, I knew they were going somewhere, and so I was I wanted to go with them, and so I was I want to go with you guys, wait for me, I need to go grab something, I'll come back. And then I ran into the house, I came back, ready to go into the car, and I get in the car, and in the car, I knew that there was something dead, and it was just a feeling there was a dead animal in there or something. And then again, the demonic presence came, and then at that point, it was just fully I was terrified. I didn't know what was happening. I knew that a demon was pretty much attacking me. And at that moment, I was remembering all the other dreams I was having, that the demon was coming at me. And then in that moment, I woke up, and then this time I didn't wake up into I woke up into a new dream where I was in everything around me, I was just by myself, and it was just darkness around me. And then at that moment, it was terrified, but then right away I started praying. I was right away just started praying in tongues, and 2 seconds later, after that, I wake up into the real world. And I realized that I had a nightmare. When you're having a nightmare, you don't always understand what's happening. You're just going through it. But at the last dream, the last 2 seconds, I regained consciousness. I realized that I was dreaming. That I realized that I was waking up, but not waking up. That I was just kept having this nightmare. And then at that point, I started praying in tongues. And then after 2 seconds, I wake up into the real world. And then I just pray a little bit, and I go to sleep, because it was all chill. And basically, what we can learn from that is that whenever you have a problem, whenever there's serious troubles, there's somebody that you can go to. There's something that you can trust. And that something that you can trust is God. We, being children of God, God hears us. And so if we, being children of God, if we do not pray, then even though God knows us, even though God can help us, if we're not in prayer, we won't really receive that help. But just as the church in Acts, when they saw the problem they had, Peter was arrested, they went to pray. And they had a prayer. We don't know how long they were praying, but they were praying, and God answered their prayer. And in the same way, when I was having my nightmare, if I were just to, by my own power, like I just got to wake up or shake or whatever, maybe that could work, but I don't know. But because I turned to God and I started praying to God for help, I realized in that moment, the only thing that could help me was God. God sent his peace and comforted me, and like I was able to wake up and then go back to sleep. So in conclusion, we have someone that we can turn to. We can turn to God, and we need to remember that there's power in God, that there's power in Jesus, that there's power in the name of Jesus, and that there's power in prayer. So we can hold on to that. I want to pray so we can rise up to our feet. I'll just end with a short prayer. Lord God, I thank